Hey team, a very good morning and welcome back. Your USD has been pushing down a little bit lower, nothing too special, and we're still waiting for the overall market structure to align with a potential trade opportunity, which I'm going to be showing you in this video. Because guys, your USD has now taken out the internal low of this fake area of demand. So as you can see here, we have a nice little sub for the buy over here, which acted as somewhat of a demand zone, trying to push the market up higher. It failed to do so, and what we've now seen is the internal low get grabbed, which on the 1 hour time frame, you can very clearly see are these two equal lows. Now, after taking that straight away, you see a bullish reaction. What I'm now currently waiting for is for the internal market structure to shift. So this high over here, if that high breaks, then on the 1 hour time frame, I do expect the market to start heading up higher towards overall 1.16691, which is your internal bump in the road / liquidity high. After which, from there, we can then expect the market to start heading down lower once again. Now, if we see a failure of the current demand zone that we are in and we break the current low over here, that is the moment then when I'll identify these internal highs here as liquidity. We'll look for the overall retracement and then we'll look for an overall sell-off, because then what I expect is that the overall supply zone here is already going to be strong enough to then start pushing the markets down lower, as the overall internal trend that we had here, where we were creating a higher high, higher high, higher high, and a higher high, will then be broken due to the fact that the higher low gets broken, and we have a clear market structure shift from that point onwards, from where we can then look for a short position. So very simply said, what we're expecting is a potential short to come in to the market once we break this low, or once we see one more push in towards the highs, once we break this internal high here and we come towards this blue dotted line, from then where we can look for a potential shorting opportunity, which is in line with the overall 4-hour market structure. So keep that in mind. Those are kind of like the two main positions, or three main positions, that you can currently monitor here on your USD. Nothing much has changed from a daily perspective, if I'm very honest. Still waiting. As we can see, we have still taken out liquidity underneath this significant low, V-shape reversal so far, and for the real longs to start playing out, what do we need? We need to break this internal high over here, because this is the high of the overall internal market structure that has been trending downwards since around September. And if we can break that high, then get the overall retest, then we could look for a new longing opportunity in towards the high as well. So those are kind of like the four trades that I have in my mind, or in the back of my mind, when I'm viewing your USD, and I'm simply just waiting for one of those opportunities to potentially start playing out. Now, moving on into the dollar index, we can see that the dollar index has been trickling up higher and higher very, very slowly, guys. It's been a slow week. Main reason for the slow week is because we have data being released this week. We have today the FOMC meeting minutes being released. Tomorrow we have NFP, together with, if I'm not mistaken, wage growth. And on Friday, we have retail sales, we have services PMI, and we have manufacturing PMI. So all of this data together is going to decide the next course of action for the dollar, and is going to help the Federal Reserve decide if they want to either increase rates, or if they want to, if they want to do a rate cut, or if they want to keep interest rates at the same level, and that will heavily influence the dollar's next movement. So let's see what happens. If we see a clean break above, then we can look for the retest and for the overall upside continuation. I have my eyes open for what can happen. I know that if we do break above the highs, we retest, I'll be looking for a long, and I also know that if we, for example, today still see that this overall high here gets respected and some momentum finally comes into the markets, that we can then potentially just continue heading down lower. So let's wait for some momentum to come in based on that news, and that is then the moment where we're going to have a more clear path set for potential positions on a Euro USD or on an NZD USD, for example, as well. Now, moving on into GU. GU at the moment is still consolidating, a pair that I'm not interested in trading at the moment. This morning, we had pound news be released. If I'm not mistaken, this morning, we had inflation numbers come out slightly better than expected, guys. Slightly better than expected. And this is actually kind of bullish for the pound. So keep an eye on those pound pairs. That is some good news that could potentially in the near future, accelerate a further push up. I haven't been checking too much what the other pound pairs have been doing. but so far since this morning actually relatively slow, so nothing too special. Though, yeah, for GU, we just simply said need to break out of this area of consolidation, and I expect that to happen once the dollar index gains its momentum back. Because if we look at the dollar index, we're obviously still trending in this overall upward trend. We're currently in the reaccumulation phase, where the market is reaccumulating, and potentially the next impulsive phase in towards the highs can start. When do we expect that to start? When the internal trend shifts, right? So we're now waiting for the internal trend to shift, and then we'll have a clear set of action, or course set of action, or whatever you want to call it. We'll have a clear trend shift, which will then help us get into some better positions. So I'm just simply said waiting for that on the major dollar pairs. Going into AUD, slightly slow, nothing too out of the ordinary of what I mentioned. I have been talking to you guys about this being stuck in a range. To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if we do see some lower prices here on AUD towards the overall black dotted line. If we look here at the daily time frame, AUD is extremely consolidative, so I wouldn't be surprised if we take out some more liquidity. For me, that is kind of like the main area that I'll be looking for AUD next. I've been looking at AUD for quite some time in the form of a daily uptrend, which is still to a certain extent definitely valid. However, I must say that the overall price action that we've been seeing is just becoming too consolidative, together with that dollar uncertainty, making it extremely hard to trade within this overall area. So therefore, I would say let's just wait for some lower prices. From there, we can then potentially look to get into some new positions. NZD USD, what's been happening? We've been trending down lower and lower. Again, we've seen some downside momentum here on NZD USD. If I'm very honest, I'm kind of surprised in a way that we've already been selling off. I would have really preferred to see some higher prices, though obviously we've made a connection with the overall buy up before the sell down right over here. Now, again, what's happened? The market took out a bump in the road over here. Then what happened here is a change of character, a bearish one. Now another bearish change of character, so this could just head down lower from here towards the overall yearly open. Do not be surprised by that. Personally, I was just waiting for the monthly open to get hit due to the uncertainty surrounding the dollar and the overall consolidative nature. Hence, or that is the reason why I wasn't in yet, but this does have the potential to already sell off as long as the current order flow holds, and the current order flow is obviously pretty much just this, and now again this over here. So this has a potential, as long as this gets followed, to head down lower. Let's say we do start breaking above this again, then that is the moment that you can look to trade towards the monthly open again. But otherwise, until now, supply and control has the potential to hit the yearly open, and then from the yearly open we could look for a new pullback trade. Then going into USD CAD. USD CAD sold off relatively aggressively yesterday due to some bullish momentum on the CAD. Now overall, still looking for higher prices, guys, overall on a swing perspective to see USD CAD make a new higher high. Price action in itself is slightly complicated at the moment, not very clean. We did take out this low over here, which was a significant liquidity low, so expecting a reaction and still expecting this to head up higher. Is it going to happen from here? I am not sure. The reason why we're not seeing a V-shaped reversal here is because, again, of the market waiting for data to be released. Though all I can say here is that, yes, we are bullish. We've taken out a liquidity low, so as long as you enter pretty much here, you should still be good to form and put in a new higher high, right? Regardless of the manipulation that we could still see. So still bullish on USD CAD and still looking for further upside in line with the trend that we've been seeing for months. Then USD Swiss. So USD Swiss in itself has again pushed up even higher. Yesterday I was mentioning that if we want to look for a short position, let's wait for this low here to go, and then we can look for shorts again. Now we're just pushing up higher and higher. Let's watch this high here get taken out before any potential shorts again. Maybe hit the monthly open, and then you could look for another shorts when you see bearish confirmation. So wait for some bearish confirmation, some bearish order flow to start, because for now, again, there's no reason to take a sell due to the fact that demand remains in control. So here, demand in control, and once again, let's say here, this demand in control, and now you still have a demand zone open here that is currently in control. So just follow the overall internal trend in towards the highs for now and towards liquidity. USD JPY has been pushing up higher as well, exactly as we've been expecting pretty much. Still looking for this to now continue towards the overall yearly open, as the yen is still bearish in my opinion. What I'm looking for at the moment is, very simply said, the demand chain to continue pushing the market up higher. Now, what I like about current price action is that we're creating some bumps in the road. And what do I mean by that? Well, we are, forming, if you look at this here, an impulse. And within the impulse, where is then liquidity? Liquidity is then underneath, let's say, this low here, or maybe this low here. So then in the future, what happens is that when the market does retrace, we can look for potential longs from one of those lows back in towards the highs, okay? So these are kind of like long positions that we can then focus on in the near future, as obviously momentum is up and any liquidation is just another opportunity to get in, as for example happened over here when this low here got taken out. This was the impulse up, we had this low and we had this low here, and you even had, let's say, this low, and this low was then enough, which was then, for example, this low to then push the market up higher. So still just only looking for longs on this. And then of course we have gold. So gold I am bullish on, still expecting higher prices and still expecting this to continue pushing in towards the upside. All we now need is some liquidation, so some internal lows swept, one of these lows swept here, and then bullish confirmation, and then the market on gold should head up higher, first of all towards this high over here, but yeah, still looking for this to continue its overall leg up higher. Potentially if we see this, we could see another drive up. So I'll be looking for some more longs there on gold following the immediate trend after retracing into the monthly open and retracing into a daily area of demand right over here. So yeah, this is what's on the watch list for now. Yeah, appreciate you guys again waiting for a lot of data on the US, and that should help with some clarity on yeah, these pairs that we love trading. So that's it for today. Thanks so much for joining in. We'll be going live into our Discord, so make sure to join through the link in the description of this video and see you inside there. Thanks.